wrestling. Watch yourself at all times. Shake hands now. May the best man win. Good luck to both of you.
Round one, there's the bell. Speed called by very excellent, the uncrowned heavyweight champion.
Welcome into another episode of That's Boxing Podcast. I'm Dust.
I'm Coach.
Let's get right into it, man. I know you got to get back to the gym. We had a big weekend. Let's just dive right in.
Let's go.
Anthony Joshua gets absolutely ragdolled this past weekend at Wembley Stadium in front of 98,000 people by the one, Daniel, my namesake, Dubois, Dynamite Dubois. Absolutely knocks this dude out of his socks, out of the ring, knocks him out cold in the fifth round. Were you watching live? What's your reaction? Let's talk about it.
Oh, wow. So actually, I had one of the most bizarre reasons to not watch the fight live. I was in an escape room with my kid. See,
so was Anthony Joshua. He did not escape.
He couldn't find the exit.
Yeah.
Maybe he found the exit too soon. Now, it was a thing. I thought the kids were going to do it, and then I was going to go across the street to the tavern and watch the fights on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're about to go in.
This is tavern.
That's the Belmont.
What year is it?
Belmont Street Inn or whatever it's called.
Okay,
Belmont Inn. You know what I'm talking about.
I know you're talking about a bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
For those listening at home who were born in the normal decade, it's a bar.
So I think it's called a tavern, but I'm not sure. But either way, here I am. I'm about to do the thing, and I say, all right, kids, have fun. And then the guy running the escape room at the arcade there, he says, oh, no, you have to come in too. They're under 13. You have to have an adult. And I was like, what? I don't want to be in an escape room. I got all claustrophobic and shit. But I went in there, had a great time. Turned out AJ was on the other side of the earth having a real bad time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't miss the highlights, couldn't do that. But I did take the time to rewatch the fight, and what a fight it was, man. This is why I said a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, that I don't like heavyweights. That I don't pay that much attention to heavyweights. And I feel like part of that is because I can't predict heavyweights because they're so unpredictable, because there's things like this happen. And I don't think things like this happen as common in the lower weight classes. But what did you do? How did you enjoy these fights?
Well, at first, I like your comment about it being more difficult to predict heavyweights. I think that's true because, the power equalizer is such a differential where a small mistake can cost you really big. I don't know that this was a small mistake for AJ, but I watched it live. We were going into this weekend really high on picks. I was nervous about this one. Actually ran last week's pod back to hear my commentary because I was so curious about that kind of musing about it out loud on the pod about what I thought the right pick was, and I wanted to go back and kind of hear those thoughts, and so that was interesting. We can get into that and how I think maybe thinking about picks in the future, there's kind of a formula of when to bet the better value, because we were really undecided about this fight. We saw AJ winning, as did basically 99.9% of the world.
The entire boxing media, all the podcasts, everybody's eating crow this week.
And I thought that was the right pick, but I knew that plus 475 Dubois KO was insane because it was much more likely than that. It should have been plus 185, something like that. And so that's kind of a note to carry forward into future picks is, hey, if they got the line that wrong, take the value when they give it to you. Even if you get it wrong, you take it and you win 1 out of 3, it's going to more than compensate because it's so lopsided. And that's exactly what this was. We, again, running back last week's episode, we were talking about what's Dubois' path to victory. And basically, if AJ comes out cold, like he usually does, needing to process and thinking that it's going to be a jab fest in the first round and he's going to get to feel you out for 3-4 rounds, that's going to play in his favor and not Dubois'. If Dubois overcomes how big the moment is and he just presses the gas, immediately from jump and gets on him and uses his power and, in a weird way, his size. I mean, they're about the same size, really, but he looked like the bigger guy in there.
Different weight distribution. His shoulders and his upper body looked a lot bigger.
And
Joshua was really proportional, actually, for his size.
Right.
He looks really well put together, but Dubois is a little more top-heavy.
And that exactly showed. Basically, for our bet, the worst case came true. All hats off to Dubois. He did exactly what he needed to do. And, I mean, you called it out. Joshua has got his hands down the whole time. Like, he looks like it's going to be a slow start, walk in the park. I mean, he looked like the fight hadn't happened, like it was a round of sparring before the fight or something like that.
I've been reflecting on this during the week at the gym, and when my pros are sparring, I usually let them have the first round just to themselves, just to get the motor going, turn the gas on. They're not even sweating yet. They got a good warm-up, whatever. And then that's their warm-up round. And then I'll come back and say, hey, okay, so this is what we're working on today. I need you to do this, this, or that. But the first round, I know they just got to wake up. They got to get their motor going.
Right.
But that's how Joshua treated this fight. The first round was going to be like, I get my motor going. I'm going to see who this guy is. I'm going to use a jab. But, he looked so cold and stiff, and he never woke up, man.
Do you think he in some way got the Devin Haney treatment where he got caught with something early and that was kind of it? He never fully recovered. Like he started out at 100, he got hit with that. I think it was a kind of a leaping left, really hit him, and then he got dropped right in the first.
Oh yeah.
And so by the time those couple shots landed, it's like, all right, now your max is 85% operating, and then you take one more because you're only at 85%. You're not at 100, and now you're at 60.
Yeah.
And it just diminishes.
Yeah, you could see him diminish through the rounds. He was just operating on instinct, and his instincts aren't great. His hands are down, his chin is up. He's just swinging haymakers like a street fight behind the tavern, okay? Like, this guy, he doesn't have, like, natural fundamentals. He's got natural power, sure. He's got a natural potential, but you can see through the course of his training and the different coaches and the effect they've had on him. And what he needed in that corner that night was a real stern coach. He came back to the corner, and he led the conversation by saying, we live for this, like this kind of like Spartan warrior thing. And the coach should have grabbed him, sat him down and said, you're going to lose if you keep living like this. You got to keep your hands up, use your jab, use the ring, don't load up on anything, But no, the guy tells him, he's like a cheerleader. Rah, rah, sis, boom, bah, throw the uppercut. Okay, that's the worst advice he could have given him.
Yeah.
I mean,
how did he get KO'd?
Yeah.
Throwing the uppercut in the corner with his hand totally down.
Just rushing in. And, he caught Dubois clean and straightened his legs right out, and that was a big shot. But it didn't put him down. You got to walk up and feint on the man. You don't walk up and try to knock the guy out. But like I said, you're right. He got hit early, and he just wasn't there. And that's always been a potential for him. We saw the same thing happen with Ruiz. He gets clipped, and his legs get straight, and he just looks awkward. He looks like a robot that's programming has got an error.
Totally. I think his disposition was one of the most interesting things. Because you said he's running on instinct, so he's kind of deleted his mental game plan. He's not really there. If you asked me a week ago, I would have said Joshua's instinct is to be a very stiff, fundamentally sound boxer, because that's what he's displayed a lot. Like, you go back and watch those Usyk fights, he looks like a great boxer. He's got good form. He's staying behind the jab, and Usyk just outboxes him. And what did everybody say after the first fight? Dude, what are you doing trying to outbox this guy? You're a giant. Just go there and, stick your tongue out and go crazy and rough him up. In this fight, he tried to do just that. He got his ass beat. And the whole time you're screaming at him, stiffen up.
Yeah, box.
Box.
Yeah, he stuck his tongue out a couple times, and he had this kind of like, I'm all right. But I think he was doing that for himself as much as anybody else. Maybe a little embarrassed, maybe a little bit just kind of out of his body. Even watching his ring walk, is that a man who's stoic, or is that a man who's nervous? It didn't look like a man who was eager to fight. It looked like he didn't have knees in his legs, and they were just straight sticks sticking out of the bottom of it. He had no swagger, nothing. He was just very robotic. And, they said before, before the Ruiz fight, that he was struggling with some anxiety in the locker room. And it was his USA debut and all this stuff and all this pressure. And, the word panic attack was thrown around. I don't know how true that is, how extreme the anxiety was, but he clearly had a negative response to the pressure on the mental side of the game. And I think that he's got a 1-2 knockout combo of problems that a boxer can suffer from. He gets nervous, and he's got no chin.
You think he's got no chin? Or it's just because a lot of people are bringing that up. Like, is his chin suspect because he got dropped in the Ruiz fight? I mean, he got dropped before. Klitschko put him down, but he got up and won, right? So,
Facts.
And in this fight, I can't even tell if he got chinny because, I mean, he showed incredible heart. I mean, the dude got up 5 times. I think 1 or 2 of those were not slips. That they ruled.
Yeah, the referee was definitely trying to help him out.
Yeah, so he got battered, and he showed a lot of heart. And I don't know if there's any man that can take that amount of punishment and not.
So is the story then the fall of AJ or the rise of Dubois?
So this is one thing I hate is I was running through a bunch of the podcast take on this fight, right? And these are all 100% people that called it for AJ. And they didn't just call it for AJ like we did. Like, I bet personally AJ to be knocked down and come back to win. That's what I saw. So that means I thought he was going to have significant adversity. He was going to hit the deck. And when he hit the deck and was coming back
like,
3 rounds
yes,
later,
sir.
I was like, here we go again. This is it. Right? I mean, we bet that fight a little bit ago. why am I blanking on his name?
Berlanga.
Well, no, but yeah, actually, that's funny. We've hit that on that twice now. Took it with Berlanga because he was obviously going to touch the deck, and Canelo was going to come back and win. And then Bohocek Ortiz.
That's right.
Same one. Because people are going to face adversity. These fighters that people are just carte blanche thinking are going to get a walk in the park. Anyways, these guys thought it was going to be a walk in the park. And now they are so far 180. He's done. He's finished. Absolutely retired. There's nothing in the tank. And I'm going, wait a minute. A week ago, you thought he was going to walk through Dubois easily. And now you saw that? It's like people have such weird recency bias. The dude is not done. He's far from done. He's a big puncher. He's a solid boxer. Yeah, he's got an up and down mental state. You don't know which AJ is going to show up. We already knew all that stuff. Easy, AJ could come back and sleep Dubois or whoever else he gets in there. Anybody, Fury, Usyk, even Usyk, he could do it. He's a bizarre character. We don't know what's going to happen with him. Don't write him off.
Yeah, I think if he fights 100 times, it's going to be 8 different dudes. 8 different styles are going to show up. It's just he's very susceptible to whatever nerves he's going through. I mean, talk about nerves though. 98,000 people looking at you.
Yeah,
that's like the entire city of Salem, Oregon, just standing still and watching you do something. That's going to put you on edge. But
every time I leave my house, that's what
the
it's
whole
like.
world just looking,
Just
man.
being a rap star, it's just tough,
Yeah. Hey, speaking of, you see, I was on the news yesterday.
I watched that. Watched that last night. That was awesome.
Por la raza.
Yeah, very cool.
Latin American
Shout out
Heritage Month,
Lorenzo.
and of course they came in I didn't expect to get on the news. I didn't expect that. They asked me while I was holding mitts for him, just an aside. Hey, like, doesn't that hurt? Or aren't you? And
Doesn't that hurt? That's
I
what they
listed
asked
off all
you?
my injuries. I was like, well, yeah, I got the bionic fucking shoulder and bad elbow, but this guy is very accurate. He's very skilled, and he makes my job a lot easier. And that's the quote they took, is that last little piece. It shows you how the media can take your words out of context.
Fake news.
This is the way it starts, and they twist in your words. Said,
Before you know it,
because the
you're
way they
eating
put
dogs.
it says he's very accurate. He's very skilled. It makes my job much easier. But where's the relation? Easier than what? Come on.
Yeah, as a coach, make sure I got it.
Yeah, you get
I got it. Yeah,
Easier than somebody who sucks.
right.
Okay,
Yeah, that was a
good
cool
point.
special though. If you haven't seen it, go.
Yeah,
go Google it.
K2 ran a special for Lorenzo Caldera. Obviously, we got fights coming up locally on November 16th, so hit up the gym for tickets. But yeah, so I agree with you about them writing Joshua off, but there's something that's happening here. Like every fighter has a story arc. Everybody has their ups and downs. I talked about last week how his story is really entertaining, and we really respect him for going up after he's been down. But I can say a fighter can come back from an injury, a physical injury, right? A broken orbital, as Dubois did, or a mental injury. They quit because something uncomfortable happened to them, or they lost heart in a fight, or something changed for them. Maybe they struggled mentally before a fight. You can recover, you can train, you can see a hypnotherapist, a sports psychologist. You can improve your physical and mental abilities in the sport of boxing constantly. You can always come back from those deficits. But can a man come back from his lack of punch resistance, which is a little different than saying chin? Punch resistance, the ability to absorb punishment. That you cannot train to improve that. There was all these clips of Joshua doing neck bridges and talking about other stuff. Well, all the neck bridges in the world aren't going to help you if you don't have a natural punch resistance. And that's just how you're built up top,
So did he have it and lose it, or did he never have it? Because the man's taking some shots. Look at his career, right? Okay, he takes a punishment against Klitschko, right? Gets the stoppage. He then goes on stoppage, UD's Parker, stoppage Povetkin. Then he takes some damage in the Ruiz fight, probably the most damage because he gets fully stopped, right? And everybody says he's broken. He goes back to beat Ruiz in the rematch by decision, running around, dancing around the ring.
Very boring and very perfect performance.
Right. And then he gets the stoppage of Pulev. People say, okay, he's back on track. Then he loses twice to Usyk, but doesn't look like he's in physical trouble really yet.
No.
Maybe it's like the 9th round of the second
wobbled
fight.
around a little bit.
Yeah, but not much, right? And then people say, oh, he's broken now in a different way because he's not aggressive enough. He's like afraid. Not that he's chinny, but he's afraid. Then he goes on a streak, right? UD's Franklin knocks out Hellenius, violent fashion, knocks out, retires while in, knocks out Ngannou in 2 rounds, and all of a sudden AJ stock couldn't be any higher, through the roof. He's going to walk through Dubois, no problem. Now he takes the most punishment he's ever gotten, right? That's the arc of to this moment. So to me, to answer your question, if he's truly kind of physically broken in that way, or maybe never had it, it's what comes next after this. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I think he still has enough to perform, but if I was his coach, if I was in his corner, I'd be a little concerned about his punch resistance. And I would really try to change the dynamic of how I warmed up for fights and how we walked into the ring. Because I work with different fighters, different bodies warm up quicker. Some guys get hot real quick, and you don't want to overcook them before they get in the ring. Other people take a long time. They need a lot of mitt work. They need a full hour, and they want a full sweat. And so he's changed coaches so many times. That run you just went through. We can go back, and there was Derek James, and there was Robert Garcia. And then before that, McCracken, his original. I mean, so this is his 4th professional trainer he's on. Now, Davidson's catching a lot of flack, but I like what he said. He took responsibility. He said, hey, you give me props when he wins. You got to give me credit when he loses, too. Like, this was on us as a team. And that's what a coach is supposed to say. But I think he did let him down in the corner. I think that he wasn't stern enough. I don't think he pushed the urgency of the situation enough. And, what happened. But that's heavyweight boxing. And it's always like, man, so hard to call. But I thought you called it great. I said most likely upset of the weekend. And the way you described that is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting way to look at bets. Is not from like the money standpoint, but like more of like the, and then tie it back into the betting, but like what's actually most likely to happen.
And that's the problem. That's I'm going to come back with some like 5 rules of betting, and we're going to try to apply them to our future picks and see if we can come up with a little bit of an algorithm here, because this was a great just a great outlier to see of you can pick what you think the most likely thing to happen is, and then you have to look if the betting world also thinks that that's the most likely thing to happen. Because I think AJ being victorious here probably was the most likely thing, but the upset was still, X%, and it wasn't being valued that way. Like, again, plus 425 or whatever, 485 is a huge, huge value on betting Dubois, and it was more likely that Dubois won than what they were doing. And so that was a good place to put money. And we said that on the pod. We said, hey, if you're feeling frisky, put some money here. And everybody that did, kudos to you, because that was well worth the risk, given the probability. And that we saw.
Yeah, well, another pick that we made for last Friday was the Munguia showdown.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. I did watch that one live. That was a good fight. I got home from the gym just in time to catch it. And, man, he was losing until he wasn't. Dude, he was getting touched up. He was not looking too good. He was looking like he couldn't get his rhythm going. The Canadian was working the jab real nice, and he looked big and strong. They're talking about him being Beterbiev's training partner, and I'm like, oh, shit, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But then when what happened, and we picked it just right in the back half of the fight. Munguia gets him out of there, but it really did kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, I thought he was going to coast to a split decision win there if he was able to turn the heat up. But he just for a guy who's known for being a volume combination puncher, he really struggled turning the volume up.
I think you called that fight correctly, and I mean, I had a few moments of wavering, as you just said, but Bazinian, and you got to figure all these Canadian guys, they all train out of one gym. There's only one boxing gym in Canada, so
I guess they're all training partners with each other.
Yeah, pretty much. But he did what we thought he was going to do. He was very educated with the jab, good with his footwork to turn him, in many ways a more fundamentally sound, slicker boxer, but he just has no fluidity to his game. He's upright the whole time. His head's in the air. He pulls kind of straight back, and he's just a little too rigid for someone, I think, as fluid as Munguia, who just puts punches together in flowing combinations, and that type of volume is just always going to crack through that. And in some ways, it's like more natural talent. It's like a more educated boxer, but someone who just has so much talent, just going to overwhelm him. And that's what happened eventually in that fight, and you got the call correct.
Yeah, and as compared to like Joshua's like instinctual fighting form, I think Munguia is a good guy whose instinctual fighting form is a lot more effective and a lot safer, because he kind of gets into this little shell and just turns and burns and throws a lot of punches. And, sometimes volume is all it takes, because if the guy's too busy blocking, he's not going to have a lot of time to counterpunch you.
And to your point, it's a smaller weight class, so his mistakes tend to be less costly.
Yeah, and he got cracked quite a few times. Good,
Yep.
clean shots were landing.
Yep.
And the crowd, I mean, that was his crowd, right? But they were oohing and on when he was getting hit. I said, wow. But of course, I was pretty happy we got the pick right on that one. And Munguia staying active. Good for him. You know, he's back in the ring. He'll be back in the ring before you know it. You know.
That's right. He's already looking at for his next opponent, trying to line something up potentially for December.
Let's do Caleb Plant, man.
Wow.
Come on. That's what I want to see.
That'd be soon for that, but I would love that.
Fight.
I would love that. Yeah. Would you rather see Munguia Plant or Plant Berlanga, or Munguia Berlanga?
I don't know if I ever want to see Berlanga. I'm ever since he bit that guy, I don't know.
That's it for you?
You bite a guy, man, I'm done with you, you know.
All right, well, I got some boxing news for Berlanga. We'll run this back in a second. Other call we got right that night. If you don't follow us on Instagram, you should, because we do some live analysis and picks of the night, right before the fights start. But that's _boxing _podcast. Give us a follow. It's also a great place. Please, comment, ask us questions, stuff that we can bring up on the show. But took Richard Torres, the over-under on that. That line was moving right before the fight. Took the under, and that's exactly what happened. He's a dominant force, just kind of a wrecking ball. And this was his biggest test. Dude had a lot of experience, but he made him look pretty average. And
You had that magical jumping mouth guard problem, right?
that was pretty pathetic. I think he just really wanted to lose by disqualification because he could hang his hat on that and be like,
Yeah.
I didn't get stopped.
Right.
Okay.
I'm going to stop it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Veterans always have some kind of crafty trick to stay in control of the situation, whether they know how to use the ref in their favor or bend the rules in their favor or stay on the stool a little extra. They're not going to obey like a younger fighter who's like, oh, well, the ref said I have to do it, so I have to do it. They said break,
Right.
so I broke. No, a veteran's going to be like, yeah, they're going to say break like 4 times
Right.
before they warn me 3 times before they take a point. So I'm going to bend the rules so hard. Or, hey, I don't want to be here tonight. This sucks. This guy's really cracking, and I'm on my way to getting knocked out. Oh, whoops, I dropped my mouth guard. Oops, I did this,
Yep.
It's so obvious. But, I mean, I don't want to say I understand because I never want to see myself doing something like that. But I know why. It's because he's been in there long enough that he has the experience to get himself out safely.
Mm-hmm.
So it's how you get out the escape room. You got to know the secret code.
Now you do.
Yeah.
Now you do. Did you guys get out of the escape room?
I turned out I didn't need to be worried about anything. There was nothing to escape. It wasn't even a room of locked room. You could leave anytime you wanted.
Okay, but did you make it out of the game, the fantasy escape room?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But we had to use every hint, and we got 15 extra minutes.
Okay, so no. The answer is no.
We would not have solved
The room were filling up with gas,
we would have died.
Yeah.
The Wizard's Tower. Well, it was in there with like 4 12-year-olds who were like skibbity in and saying, I was like, boys, if we don't start doing this.
You are a coach. You should
I
be able
know.
to get him on task.
Yeah, I wrangled them pretty good, and we were able to solve most of the riddles. But some of it was pretty out there, and it was a lot of, I don't know. It was not for adults. It was for like young adults, It was like
I see.
Harry Potter vibes, The kids liked it, and it was fun.
When you made it out, did it lead to a tavern? Speaking of, what did you say? The Wizard Tower? Heavyweight division. Heating up. A lot of players. Very difficult to put them in place, as we just discussed with AJ. And I think also Kiki Torres, friend of the show. Where does he fit? I want to do some quick matchmaking with you.
Dude, that's so crazy when you put it like that, because Kiki's not a humongous guy.
But he's not small either.
You're friends with
Yeah,
him.
we're about the same size.
Yeah, you think
Man,
he's about 140?
Yeah, he's about 5'7", 140.
Yeah. Sick. No, how tall do you think he really is?
6'1"?
About my height then?
Yeah.
I'm like 6'1" on a good day if I stand up straight.
Yeah, he might be. Let's look it up.
So he's like 6'1", 220, something like that. He's
I never
a throwback heavyweight.
I mean,
man.
BoxRec has him at 6'2".
Okay.
Why did they never put the weight? 6'2", 76-inch reach.
You just got to look at his most
it's on
recent
his
weigh-in.
most recent fight was 232.
Okay.
He's not a small dude.
Not tiny. It's like a couple inches shorter than Usyk, but about the same weight.
Yeah. Wait, shorter than Usyk? How tall is Usyk? He's not that tall.
Yeah, Usyk's like 6'3", 6'4".
6'3", so he's like an inch shorter than him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so heavyweight division. You got AJ, you got Dubois, you got maybe Wilder is still in play. You got Fury, Usyk, Parker, Zhang, Bacoli, Caballel, Jarrell Miller, Andy Ruiz, Kiki, Jared Anderson. Okay, all these people are floating around. You're Turkey. Who's Kiki fighting next? Who does he fight? Who do you want to see?
Damn. Well, I mean, if he's going to fight one of those top names like that, and you got to be careful with the matchmaking on that one. You know, he doesn't have that world class.
No, you're not moving his career. You're you, fan. What's exciting? 50-50 fight.
Oh, wow.
Throw him in there with someone. Either guy could win.
Man, I'm not putting anybody anywhere near Bacoli. All right.
Okay.
So
We're gonna
just-
get to
you
him.
just
I'm
put him to the
matchmaking.
side.
This is lightning round.
Well, you listed too many names. I'm running through this.
Because I want you to have
Rolodex.
them all top of mind. You know, don't leave anybody
I
out.
told you how I feel about heavyweights. I can't predict these.
That's why
motherfuckers.
this is a good exercise.
All right, so Kiki needs to get in the ring and mix it up with. Let's see how he does against a big body. Let's put him in there with with Big Baby.
With Big Baby,
the
Miller.
Real Big Baby.
Okay, interesting. Real big. I was gonna go Jared Anderson because it's kind of the natural. I mean, they're stablemates, a little awkward, but I was just gonna say young top ranked fighter versus young top ranked fighter. But okay, I like that. Big Baby. AJ, where does AJ go?
Well, so I'm not. You know, everybody online is saying AJ Wilder for the.
Washed to be washed.
Yeah, and see, like, because people want to see somebody get knocked out, and the chances of a knockout in that fight are extremely high because they've both been knocked out recently, and that's all people care about is what have you done recently.
Yep.
We know it's not going to be a technical boxing match on the end of Deontay Wilder, and I think that would be kind of a fun fight to watch, but I don't think Joshua's quite diminished that much yet. I don't even know if Wilder's ever going to fight again. I don't know if I'd want to see that anyways. So let's say AJ needs to get the get right fight, and that should be against Zhang.
Zhang is his get right fight.
Get right with the big southpaw.
Oh my lord! Wow, you were just trying to lead these people to slaughter. I was gonna go AJ Wilder. I think that's natural. I think. I mean,
obviously that's gonna sell like crazy.
Let's sell like crazy. Ironically, probably nobody gets knocked out in that fight. That's my hot take right now. AJ boxes to victory. Maybe he stops Wilder like late, but it's like unsatisfying. You know, kind of how Zhang did it. It's like he gets clipped trying to talk to the ref and like falls and then doesn't get up, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, well,
because that's his best pass victory in that fight. But keep it moving. Martin Bacoli, new entrance to the scene, infamous sparring with everybody. Who's he fight?
Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury. Okay,
No doubt.
Regardless of the outcome of Fury Usyk,
Yeah, of course.
you just want to see him just go big guy, go
Yes,
right for it.
Yes, I want to see that war of the fucking monsters.
Okay. And then the dark horse, Joseph Parker, who seems to call more fights than he's in, but who's putting together an impressive resume. And what is he? You know, he's the guy that beat Zhang. He's the guy that beat Wilder. Where does he go next?
Man, well, who's left? Anderson? I mean, Anderson's not ready for that. But you know what? That'd be kind of all right to see. I'd be all right with that.
I'd go him and Usyk in this fantasy.
Oh, shit.
I mean, let's see. Parker gets, some kind of heat for being a bit more of a boxer. 35 wins, only 23 knockouts as a heavyweight. But, okay, boxer v boxer. Let's go.
I don't know. I think Usyk could take care of him.
I think Usyk probably takes care of any of these guys. But does he take care of Tyson Fury again in December?
I don't know, man. That's the thing about heavyweight boxing. If all those fantasy matchups we just went over, if they could run them 5 times in a row with then they're not, there's none of these are going to be 5 wins in a row for one guy.
Right.
Because it's a puncher's chance every night of the week.
You know what they need to do? Heavyweight boxing needs to work like a series, like the NBA finals. And it's like, yeah, you just got to fight best of 5. You just run it month after month. It takes 5 months, which sounds funny, except for it takes a year to move past one person because of all these rematch clauses.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll get into some real quick boxing news. Of course, mentioning rematches, it looks like AJ, against your fantasy wish of fighting Zhang, is probably going to be fighting Dubois again because he's got the rematch.
Yeah.
And they both said they're happy to run it back. So that's the next fight in 6 months probably.
Wow. Okay. Well, now Dubois is a legitimate titleist. You got the email belt, but so now that was kind of a up in the air. But a lot of people didn't even understand that Dubois was defending.
Right, because he looked like the B-side. He came in second. It was kind of messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. What about Joshua? His post-fight thing, he was like pretty cheery about it. He's like, I'm pissed off, but it is what it is.
Yep. It's like, oh, well, he's been through that before. He's not going to start talking about Ukraine again. No geopolitical speeches. Ryo got offered the tank fight at 135.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. He's a world title holder at 140.
I agree, but I wanted to throw it out there as news. I thought that was commendable, honestly, because I mean that's that's it. That's the biggest payday he'll probably ever be offered in his entire career. I mean, realistically, the way the landscape's going. And he said, dude, I fight at 140.
I saw a clip off on Instagram where he was having a video call. Ryo was having a video call with the one kid, Ryan Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, let's fight. And he's like, sure, let's fight. But they were like 144 or some made up weight class. And Valenzuela's like, sure, let's do it. Because like he knows that's where the money's at.
Right.
And his belt wouldn't even be on the line.
Right.
You know, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a shot like that. That'd be pretty cool.
I feel like Garcia's just, his thing is just to challenge everybody. He's like, oh, I'll fight Bud Crawford. I'll fight Ortiz. I'll fight. It's like, who do you just actually fight somebody? You know, you got to hone in. I guess he can't.
Not yet.
But he fluctuates in weight class so much. Like, yeah, I'll go to 154. Yeah, I'll go to 143. Pick a weight, man.
Yeah. I mean, in the modern era, he's kind of stuck. But, like, you know, back before the internet and all this, he could have just traveled down to South America and had a bunch of fights, you know?
Right.
But he's such an international star that, you know, his band is going to carry itself around the globe.
That'd be so cool if he was just like, okay, there's this Facebook Live that you can watch this corner cam in Tijuana for me fighting. Bring it back to Berlanga. You mentioned you're sick of him. Well, he said he'd like to fight at heavyweight, and he'd like to get in there with AJ. And he said, don't worry, I'll walk in 210 plus.
Wow, that's a confident man.
Yeah.
Coming off the biggest loss of his career. Yeah, I mean, he was damn near a heavyweight in there on fight night. And everybody wants to skip right over cruiserweight,
of course,
which is what he naturally is.
Yeah.
So
I'm with it. I say 100% AJ's next fight should be Berlanga. That'll get his confidence going.
Hell yeah.
Well, should we look for upcoming? Oh, actually, you know what? There's one other piece of news. I need to have a little small intervention with you. This is a very serious topic I wanted to bring up on the podcast.
What's happening?
A lot of people might know that Coach and I share an Instagram account. Single account.
Yeah, so if you message us on there, you never know who's going to message.
You never
can
know.
Start signing off our responses.
True.
If it's a D, it's for Dust. If it's a C, is for Coach.
Yeah, so if you got like a super insightful, charming, witty reply, obviously that was me. And if you got a string of incoherent nonsense with poor punctuation, that was Coach.
Oh, wow.
But this is much deeper than that. I log into the Instagram, presumably to post some of that incredibly witty content. What do I see but a big picture of Katy Perry? And I'm like, oh, it must be on the Explore page. No, it's on Who We Follow page. That's Boxing Podcast has been following one Katy Perry. And I just think you owe myself and our listenership an explanation for this behavior, because it was under no circumstances myself who followed Catherine Perry.
Hey, man. She's one of the greatest musicians of all time. Of course I'm going to follow her. I got all her records.
No.
I got all
Stop
the merchandise.
Stop it.
No, dude. It goes back to you. It's your fault.
Me?
Because you told me that I need to build our social media profile by getting on there and just following all kinds of people and commenting on their posts.
Boxing people, not Katy Perry. You think Katie's like, oh, that's Boxing Podcast followed me. I'll shoot him a follow back.
I was hoping. I thought she might open us up to a whole new audience.
Okay, so this helps me. This was blind optimism and not true fanship for Katy Perry.
I mean,
name 3 Katy Perry songs right now.
Listen, bud. I don't know if you remember a guy named Manny Pacquiao, but I sure do. And when he walked out and did his ring walk to the song "Roar" by Katy Perry with the tigers and lions and shit.
Okay, "Roar," that's one. You got 2 more? I can't name 3 Katy. This is a heterosexual test. If you can name 3 Katy
Well,
Perry
there's the
songs.
one that Pacquiao walked out to, and
"Roar." Okay.
That one slaps. Okay. I listen to that in the gym sometimes when I got to let my roar out. All right. Okay. She really brings out the animal in me, if you know what I'm saying. This
is a lot of suspect information. This is going exactly as I hoped it would.
No, I don't know any others. I can't think of any others. And listen, man, it's all about spreading the word. And if she wants to get on board with us and be one of our loyal listeners, then I'm all for it. Katy Perry, follow back. Follow us back.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're listening to this episode, so hit us with that follow back. Otherwise, I'm unfollowing you. You have 48 hours.
48 hours to respond.
Before I clean this up. And I haven't even gone through to see if there's any other pop stars on there.
Straight up, I just go down there. It's just like, follow. I just like spam the shit out of that. Because I'm trying to, I thought if they, I didn't
Boxing people.
You should go look at what else I'm following on. There's probably something weirder than that.
Oh my God, we're probably trapped into some algorithm. We're probably blackballed.
I think there was like some like San Diego news channel or something on there. I had to unfollow that one because I kept seeing all this news about San Diego, and I'm like, I don't even live there.
I'm cleaning this up. Also, if anyone wants to be our social media manager, please reach out to us.
Sign up as soon as possible for this completely unpaid position.
Yeah, totally unpaid. A lot of street cred though. Well, let's get into upcoming fights. We got to get out of here in a minute. So we've got about 1 billion cards coming up this upcoming weekend. But the main one, well, you want to shout out Baumgartel Pursoon?
Oh, yeah. Alicia's making her, is this her first fight since her PED pop?
I believe so.
Yeah, so it's she's headlining an all-female card down there on like Fubu TV or something down in Georgia, the state of Georgia. So that's kind of cool. All-female boxing, a bunch of 2-minute rounds. She's probably going to win this thing. Pursoon has lost twice to Taylor, and I think Baumgartner's on that level too. I think she's a world beater.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to beat this girl too. She's awkward. Pursoon, she's awkward, and she can win off her awkwardness. But Baumgartner is violent, and I don't know if she's going to knock her out. Probably, I would say decision win for Baumgartner there.
Seems like a good bet to me. On Friday night, we've got the ESPN Top Rank card. A pretty good little card of fights, headlined by Sandy Ryan and Michaela Mayer. Let's take it in reverse order, though. We're starting off the main card with Bruce Carrington. Coming back from his last stoppage win, and they're kind of always packaging him with Xander Zayas, who also fights in this card. But how do you see this Carrington fight going?
Well, I think he's going to be able to get this guy out of there like sometime past the halfway point. Mm-hmm. He's a smart fighter. He's smart enough to be patient, but he's such a power puncher for the weight class, and he's so accurate. He's one of my favorite boxers to watch right now, and I think we're going to watch him put on a show. I think we expect enough resistance from this op that he's going to stick around and not fall over in 2 seconds. But somewhere, 7, 8, he'll probably be touching the canvas.
I could see that. I really like Sagawa. I think it's a good step up for him. But he's got 4 losses and he has been stopped before. And I do think Carrington just has kind of more tools in the toolbox, as we say. And, we'll probably figure him out at some point. He's kind of an awkward fighter. But Carrington's just so sound and so slick and still carries that power and, riding a bit of a knockout streak here, other than, let's see, 1 unanimous decision going back to April of last year. And he's been pretty active since then. So
yeah, he means business, man. He's one of the best guys out there working right now. Future world champion, no doubt.
I agree with you. So Top Rank Special number 1 ordered up. Xander Zayas, Damian Sosa. How about this fight?
I'm looking at a points win for Zayas on this one. Maybe
Really?
Yeah, he actually hasn't been on much of a KO streak. He's been going the distance as they've been moving him up. He was able to headline the card in his last outing, and here he gets bumped down to co-main event again, but that's all right. But this guy's no joke. This guy's going to be able to go the distance with him. That's my prediction.
I think you're right. He got the unanimous decision win. Before that, a KO. A couple KOs in a row, but a decent mix of decisions peppered in, and I think people really got high on him, thinking he was going to knock everybody out, and it's easy to bet that because he does kind of have that natural pop on his punches, but I don't know if that's who he is, and this guy is sturdy.
Sosa, yeah, I looked back at he's always been at this weight class, and that's something to look into when you're considering a guy's punch resistance. They didn't move this guy up from 2 weight classes below. This guy didn't jump up for a payday. He's been at this same weight class for his entire career, weighing in about the same, 153 pounds. So he's going to be strong enough, and he's going to be durable enough. And he's a real tough fighter. These Tijuana fighters don't mess around, okay? And I think he's going to be able to stand and take what's coming and probably lose on points.
I agree with you, and I believe he's never been stopped. I don't think he's ever touched the canvas either. So it seems like a durable guy that, I think that's the right pick. So Top Rank Special, bet the stoppage, bet the victory, probably unanimous decision. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. Unless, that would be the upset is if it was a split decision.
Right.
If Zayas can't box to a victory here.
Well, I think this is where the Top Rank Special actually ends for the first time in world history.
I agree with you. They actually have a competitive fight at the top of the bill.
Unbelievable. And I think it's for the reason you just said, natural weight classes. Sandy Ryan is the natural welterweight, 147. And Michaela Mayer has only fought once at 147 and took a split decision loss.
Against another British girl.
Oh, even better.
Now that fight was in the UK, hometown advantage, close fight, lost a split. But yeah, she jumped up from 130 and moved quickly to 147, which is actually what defines all this drama that's surrounding this fight about coach stealing.
So I wanted to ask you about this. I made a note as the coach. So for those that don't know, Sandy Ryan, she's defending her WBO title against Michaela Mayer. She's got a coach, Coach K, K Karoma, right? And I guess without telling her, according to her side of the story, the coach takes on Michaela Mayer, becomes her coach. And Sandy's like, what the fuck? You just took on my competition under the same roof, and called him out on it. And this is all kind of her perspective of the story. And he says, no, don't worry. I've got another coach that's going to work with her. But no, it's him working with her straight up. So of course she pieces out, doesn't want any part of that. How do you feel about this as a coach? Are you taking on two people who are separate promotional companies in the same weight class destined to fight?
Yeah, so the way this went down is it was originally they were in two different weight classes. And when the other, and Sandy Ryan comes to Vegas and she's training with the assistant to Coach K. I forget his name. And they develop a relationship and they're training together. And then K ends up cornering, but more in a what do you call it? A non-official role, right? He goes to the fight. He's there to support, but it'd be like this. Molly's the head coach. I'm the assistant coach, right? If I started working with a fighter and then, like, say it was Lorenzo's potential opponent, and then she's like, well, no, take that back, because they weren't in the same weight class at the time.
I think she was moving up. When he took her on.
Yeah, so it was like a kind of a situation where it wasn't that predictable. It wasn't like, oh, we're rivals. It's not like Bud and Spence.
Right.
And, it's like this wasn't a big thing. They were two weight classes away from each other, so nobody really saw it coming, and it just happened naturally. And I think that's what happened here. And maybe Mayer's a little hard to work with, and they're like, hey, this other girl's on the rise. She's taking care of business. She's not such a pain in the ass. I don't know. I get the vibe that Mayer's very particular to work with. I mean,
but Mayer's the second one he took on. He was working with Sandy.
I thought it was the other way. No, it's the other way around. He was
Really?
working with Mayer, and then they went over to work with Sandy. Yeah.
But isn't he currently Mayer's coach?
No.
Oh, I got it
New
backwards.
squad. She got a whole new squad. But nobody's talking about Al Mitchell. That was who she was training with for a long time. I met him in Philadelphia at the Golden Gloves national tournament. He was there with some amateurs. He's old school as it comes, man. He's super cool, super old school, super nice coach. I used to see videos of them training together all the time. Nobody's talking about Al. This is Coach K this, Coach K that. So, but yeah, basically, long story short, she jumped up 2 weight classes. Things got complicated. They went the other way. And, now she's on her own. I think it's interesting, but I don't think that, it's going to help her in the fight to be emotional about it. It was recently there was another thing with there's a coach, a lady coach, and she had 2 fighters that were fighting each other. Remember? Was it Siniesa Superbad?
Oh yeah.
And they were fucking yelling at each other in the ring, like having real beef.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it may be slightly manufactured drama. Maybe Mayer's a little hard to work with. If you're moving through coaches, maybe you got to look at yourself a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's complicated, dude. Freddie Roach has a story about that, kind of similar. He was working under Eddie Futch, and then Eddie Futch was super busy, Hall of Fame trainer. He had a bunch of guys, and at the time, Freddie Roach was just an assistant. And then the fighters he's working with, they're like, hey, why are we paying Eddie? He doesn't even come to the fights. Like, you do everything.
Right.
And he's like, well, that's how we do it. It's our system. It's like the mob, kind of, The boxing is like the mob.
Right.
And then the fighter said, well, we just want to train with you. So he went to Eddie Futch and said, hey, these guys, they just want to train with me. They want to cut you out. And you know what Eddie Futch said? Well, then get out. And he threw him out of his gym. Damn. And that's how Eddie went on to become his own coach. Is when his mentor, his coach from when he was a fighter and one of the greatest boxing coaches of all time says, get out of here. So there's always these little problems, these little things, But in my situation, I've got 2 fighters in my gym right now that are 2 weight classes away from each other. if one of them wanted to jump up, I mean, no, you can't do that. Like, it's just
Right.
not going to work.
Right, but that's more for their career, not for because of they'd be on a crash course with the other one necessarily. Right, it's just not the right move for them.
Yeah, but you're right about Michaela moving up. Do you think that puts her in a position to lose this fight?
I do. I mean, I think that they're comparable in terms of skill, and I think one has, like you said, a career track record at this weight class. This is her weight class. She's defending the belt, and the other's going up to challenge and hasn't successfully challenged or fought at that weight class. And to me, that looks like a decision victory for Sandy Ryan.
Yeah, I think that there's smart money on a split decision for Ryan with maybe a chance of a draw. I think if
A draw. Wow, that's
I think if ever a fight could be a draw, this one might be the one.
fascinating.
Because there's just enough variables to kind of even out.
Mm-hmm.
Mayer's the hometown fighter. That might play in her favor the same way we consider that she, lost her last fight in the UK because she was the traveling fighter.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, she's a little smaller, but I think she's a little bit better of a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
And she's American, Sandy Ryan, she's kind of funny, man. But she's not bad either. But I think Mayer's going to be good enough to box smart and take it all the way, but not strong enough to do anything like a knockdown or anything substantial.
Right.
Swarm, attack, frustrate, annoy, but not win. I think a draw. That's my prediction.
A draw. Wow. I'm just pulling up. I got to see. The draw is plus 1,200.
Wow.
I could see it. Sandy Ryan by decision plus 120.
Yeah, so my notes, I got draw or Sandy Ryan split. That's what I'm picking. That's my pick. Shock me, Mayer. Shock me. Prove me wrong.
I think I think it's a good pick. I think I wish they had the line on a split decision. You could also take the over 8.5 minus 1,100 now. Yeah. Exact winning method. Sandy Ryan by split decision plus 550.
Wow.
A lot of money if you're confident in that split.
Yeah, man. I might have to download that app one of these days and put some money where my mouth is.
You're not betting these bets. Every bet that we put out, I just want the listenership to know, I put personal money on every single one because I stand by our product. Coaches,
I deleted the app last year. I was trying to.
This is literally my retirement plan.
I'm trying to stay out of it. I like the predictions, but
Run through our other. Please gamble responsibly.
all opinions expressed on this podcast are solely of those of the speaking. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, this marks the end of the Top Rank special. If we're taking Sandy Ryan by split decision or decision, yeah, you take what you feel like is the best for you. On the I'm pulling up the rest of the lines that we bet on this card. Xander Zayas, we took him by decision, minus 155. So people are starting to bet him by decision. Usually the line is in favor of a knockout for him, but people are seeing it. So I think that's the right bet at minus 155.
All right, let's do our thing real quick. Most likely to touch the canvas this weekend.
Probably Sagawa.
Okay,
In the ring with Breeze Carrington.
I agree.
Yeah.
Most likely upset.
Well, it's got to be Mar, right? Mayer. Don't you
Is
think?
that really an upset?
Well, that's what I was trying to pull up here to see.
Is that really going to be an upset? Because she's lost her last fight. She's not like queen of the scene or nothing.
But if she wins,
she wins?
If she wins, that's what I'm saying.
Because
she's plus 100, so she's the underdog. I think she's most likely to win of the underdogs.
Okay, and what's going to be the fight of the night, fight of the weekend?
For me personally, anytime Shushu fights, that steals the card.
I agree with all your takes, man. Great stuff.
100%.
Let's see those things come true.
3 out of 3.
Just-
Last pick we got to do. Oh, they don't even have the line out for Carrington. You can just take Carrington money line minus 1,400. Well, it's prop that with Xander Zayas by decision, and you probably got yourself a different flavor of Top Rank special.
Yeah, man. And then we got this weekend. There's some other fights, but nothing really to go crazy about. Then the following weekend, we kind of got.
There's some,
There's
and
a
then
little bit here
the
and
weekend
there.
after, that's it. That's
Oh,
D-Day.
Wow.
Did you see our boys, Baturbiev and Beeble facing off?
I saw the face-off. I have not seen the movie they made.
I haven't watched it yet either.
haven't
I'm
watched
actually
the movie.
stoked to watch it.
That stuff's so silly sometimes because it's like, how much time do you want to spend with the guy that you got to go to war with? I feel like, back in the day, a couple poses back to back, a couple flexes, maybe a little glare, and then off you go. But they got to make a whole movie together.
Do you think they shoot them together, though? They got to have them like green screen, separate rooms. They're not hanging out.
Like the one with Crawford, they had a full-on sparring session.
But do you think they really did? I thought it was just like editing.
I don't know. It looked like they were there, but, that's the magic of the movies.
Yeah. Speaking of kind of hanging out with your opponent, ringside at AJ Dubois, just bizarre. You got Conor McGregor there with an unlit cigar in his mouth, just running around like kind of an idiot. You've got Usyk and Fury basically like a row apart. And then my favorite part, well, two favorite parts. One, Fury stands up when Joshua gets knocked out and screams, "You daft cunt, you cost me $140 million." It's like he knew what went down the tube right then, even though I think that's a bit dramatic. They could still fight. But
they can, and they probably will.
And they probably will, right? But even better, he grabs Usyk, puts his hand around him, and is like, "Oh, you taught both those chaps a boxing lesson, didn't you?" And I'm sitting there going,
"He taught you a boxing lesson too, big
guy."
Yeah,
are you forgetting, man?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I think Usyk's just one of the most personable dudes on the planet,
Oh, 100%.
We didn't even talk about it. He got detained, and it was a big headline for a minute.
True, yeah.
But I guess they just let him out there.
He was smuggling greatness into the European Union.
Power.
They got to keep that out of there.
Fucking power.
Mm-hmm. He's looking. I mean, my hope is every day they leave him alone, he grows bigger and stronger and harder to defeat.
Dude, this is good. Yeah, well, we'll get there when we get there. Let's get through the light heavyweights first before we get to the heavyweights, okay?
Okay, this is
fight on the 12th. It's like my birthday week,
mm-hmm.
And there's fights on the 12th. Triple G used to fight on the 12th. Before that, it was always Bernard Hopkins. Those were my birthday fights, So,
interesting.
It's a good date. It's going to be a good fight. And it's a real 50-50 pick-em fight. I'm not looking forward to having to make picks for that.
Oh, I like to check in with you over time so we can trend it, Josh's picks. Has anything moved? Who do you got right now? You got to put it down. $100. Where are you going? Red or black?
Dude, it's an if,
Look at this. Do you hear this guy
50-50
pontificate
fight.
and stall and all this stuff when I put him in the hot seat?
All right. Let's say right now I had to put $100 down. Well, I don't think about it like that, though, because I'm not truly a gambler. I think about it like, what guy would I rather be? Because I want to transport myself into their body and win the fight.
But you're not them. They're not fighting with your brain, your plan.
Well, no, I mean, but if I had to be them on the night.
Okay.
Who would I rather be? Not that I would control their body like some kind of automaton, but I would.
Well, obviously, you'd rather be Beterbiev because even if you lose, you're getting hit with sweet candy shots.
Dude, yeah, of course. I think right now I'm leaning towards Artur. I think he's going to get it done. I think it's going to be a messy, ugly affair, and he's just too powerful. He's too violent, and based on recent work, which is how we judge a man, the guy's work against Lyndon Arthur, we're talking about Bivol, wasn't great. It was boring. It was slow. It wasn't violent. It was
he
tactical.
His most recent work was his first stoppage in 25 years, though.
Well, the guy actually tried to press the action a little bit, and he was refusing to do it, and then he finally caught him. But, Better ain't going to fight like that. And we talked about that back then. Bivol ain't going to fight like that night either. I think because he was actually coming forward a lot, right?
Yep.
He walked him down. I think he's going to be doing a version of what he did in the Canelo fight. But I think that this ain't Canelo. This is Artur Beterbiev, the knockout man, the guy with the perfect KO streak, the little boulder of destruction, and that's who I'm picking right now. We'll see what it's like next week.
I'll check in with you again. I've been solid on my boy from the start. I hope his knee holds up. I hope it's all good, and that doesn't play any kind of factor in the fight because he's going to need to cut that ring off and get in there. But he's going to find him eventually. It's too many wrecking balls hitting you, you know. But that's an amazing fight. I cannot wait. But don't sleep on this Friday's card. Solid, Top Rank put together. Probably the best card since we started this podcast, given that we don't know every single person that's going to win.
Yeah, they finally did it. They finally did it, Bob. Thank you.
Yeah. Rock and roll. Get back to the gym. Until next time, I'm Dust.
I'm Coach.
And that's boxing.